Of us now, item 7 is a call of bills for final reading. This bill did not go to committee, it's coming straight to us. We have Mr. Science, I believe, as the person who will talk about this, but basically, the staff recommendation here, this is Weapons Urban Area Boundary. Staff recommends approving Bill 38-18 with an amendment to Section 53-3. The amendment would allow council to consider future changes to the urban area boundary whenever such changes are recommended by the executive. Mr. Science, if you can briefly describe, and then I'll turn it over to Councilmember Katz, who was the sponsor of this bill.
This is a relatively small change to the geography of the urban area. The urban area is simply defined by almost meets and bounds types of descriptions in code. Well, right now, if you can switch to the PC here to get it on the screen, I can show you the map of the area. The area this is including is off of Croom Road, south of, now I got to remember it's not it's the Patuxent River. And it's where the power line is closest to that river point. Let me just zoom in for a second. Again, just to get you oriented, here's Route 29, here's the Patuxent River, here's where Croom Road is, right there. If I zoom in, you can see property lines, and the area being added is this area here, right next to the WSSC property, which is north of it. It only involves this area. Right now, the property, the line for the urban area goes along the power line. This would include this little segment in the urban area. The effect of that would to prevent a lot of shooting that's going on. And to that end, you had testimony that this was a particular problem there. It's one of the reasons I think that the committee chair recommended this go straight to council rather than it wait for that committee meeting. The amendment I have was just changing an uncodified provision that the executive had recommended and putting it in code that the council can do this when it's recommended by the executive.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Zion said it all. When we all heard the public hearing last week, we realized this is the last council session for this year, and I felt it was very necessary, and my colleagues on public safety agreed with me that this is something, it's an expedited bill that we should go immediately to a vote. So with that, I move that we pass this with the amendment.
Seconded by Councilmember Rice. Okay, this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Glass votes yes. Mr. Jawando?
Yes.
Mr. Jawando votes yes. Mr. Hucker?
Yes.
Mr. Hucker votes yes. Mr. Reamer?
Yes.
Mr. Reamer votes yes. Mr. Albornoz?
Yes.
Mr. Albornoz votes yes. Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Rice votes yes. Mr. Friedson?
Yes.
Mr. Friedson votes yes. Mr. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Katz votes yes. Ms. Navarro?
Yes. Okay, so that is unanimous. All right, now we're on to action on the appointees.